I would like to remind everyone that this show is brought to you by the Dolphin Wars.
Good evening, everybody. It is King Dolphin TV episode 194. Only 6 episodes to go before the big 200th book, the 200th episode of King Dolphin TV. Tonight, I'd like to thank you all for showing up here. Tonight, we're going to be doing another book review. This time, of a very awesome Star Trek graphic novel called StreamYards already. Star Trek Debt of Honor. It is an awesome graphic novel, and I kind of call it the official, unofficial sequel to Star Trek 4. So hopefully Jill will come here and show her appreciation for Star Trek and the episode. It was written by Chris Claremont, with Adam Hughes and Carl Story doing the artwork, and it was done by IDW. It was done about 30 years ago. I thought it's an awesome book. What does it sound like, Snort? It could be me. I'm kind of like feeling a little congested. Sound there, fine. Snoopy's clicking in the back. Go cancellation, and let me erase mine. Okay. Let's see how that goes. All right. Okay. Let me know if that's better, Snort. So, as we get going here, hopefully more people will show up, but we'll get started by welcoming the people that are here so far. We've got Sandra, the producer. Hello, honey. We've got the first in, the last out, Legatus Legion I. And we've got the hardest warfare in not only this universe, but the next universe. Snort Press! You burr. Hey, I'm distorted. Come on. Get this right, Feliciano. Get this right, King Dolphin. All right. There. Snort Press! You burr. Great show. Let's hear a good review. All right. So, by the way, .com. All right. Hello, Taylor Swift. Greater than Disney Star Wars. Okay. Hello there. Glad to see ya. Okay. All right. let me give a little. I'm going to be doing the screenshots from Kindle. I have the book on hard copy, but trying to get it through, find it through all my comic books was a pain in the neck. So what I did was I decided to buy it through Kindle, and that kind of gave me the idea that I wanted to review this book for the pod. Because one, it's a good graphic novel. It has its flaws, some inconsistent artwork, but overall the story is fantastic. It's got a who's of Enterprise characters. It's got combat. It's just it's got an interstellar menace. I mean, it's Star Trek at its greatest. So, without further ado, we shall. Okay, and there's the beautiful cover with Kirk. Hello, Phantom Outsider. How you doing? So it's got Kirk, it's got Core, and a mysterious Romulan woman. Hello, Pudgy Hedgehog Adventures. Oh, hello there. Glad you can make it. So, let us begin. Alright. Okay. This may be going a little slow as this is going to be my first attempt at screen grabbing. But fortunately, I am pretty good at putting down notes and preparing. Okay, so we start with Kirk fighting the Klingon officer at the Genesis planet. Kirk is fighting, getting ready to kick the Klingon off the cliff, and then he sees faces of his dead son David and of Khan Noonien Singh. And then he sees the Enterprise. He puts his foot through the Enterprise, and the Enterprise is going down in flames. And then he wakes up at a dream, and he's out in the middle of the ocean, and there is Gracie, who just splashed him with water, and my buddies, the Dolphins, always there to give him what for. Even a captain can't avoid dolphins. And then we see Jillian. This obviously was happening after Star Trek 4, when she ended up back to Kirk's time. He's getting ready to take care of the whales, and then he gets a message. She comes back and gives him grief about his history. And she's probably dealing with survivor's guilt because she left everything she was going to. She left her entire life to come over here and doesn't understand anything that happened here in the 23rd century. And now we go to a flashback to just where Kirk was on the Farragut after the creature decimated virtually the entire crew. So we're gonna stop there for a bit with the pictures, but see who's there. What's this? I saw Kirk spinning a Romulan ale again. Yeah, well, you know how that Romulan ale is. So, welcome to the 23rd century. We have bad pizza and no money. Yes, yes. Okay, so. All right. I'm spacing it so I don't get the copyright strike. Of course, if I'm giving a review and I'm not monetized, who cares? Okay, so the crew, virtually the entire crew of the Farragut was decimated by this creature. The Garovic was killed, and they're trying to repair everything so that they can get home, because they're very close to the Romulan neutral zone. Lieutenant Kirk is working on repairs to the sensor system, and he is introduced to a Vulcan, Tassel, who is going to assist him. Kirk obviously is not thrilled with that, but the commander says, "Do it. We need this. We need the ship taken care of, and so they can get out of there." So they go through repairing the process. On a break, she notices that he's reading theoretical physics from Spock, a Vulcan science Starfleet officer named Spock, that he hopes to meet one day. Well, he does. So he tells him his philosophy that a ship, even if it was a Romulan ship, he would help the ship in hope it would start a new relationship. Now, of course, Jim is blaming himself, which will lead to his issues on obsession. And then this happens. A projectile, breaks through the hull, and a creature comes out. Kirk tries to take out the creature. The creature takes Kirk out. The creature can take up to a full phaser blast, draining out the power. So these creatures are tough. So now the ship is being invaded by these creatures, and the crew is being engulfed. Doesn't this sound familiar? Like a certain species we all know and loathe in the 24th century, except these creatures are alive. So So the first officer decides he's going to jettison the saucer and blow up the secondary hall. Kirk, unfortunately, they can't do it because the systems are damaged. So they have to do it manually. Kirk was going to do it himself, but Cassell decided she wanted to help him out. It would be better with two people than one. She's attacked, and they take out the creature, and they jettison the craft. Kirk is seriously wounded. They get into an escape pod as the ship is destroyed. They end up on one of the newer Romulan watchtower outposts, where she leaves them, and she acts as a decoy. So if the Romulans come by, they will see her and not Kirk. So that is Kirk's encounter with a really bad person. And hello, anti-derivative Jill. How are you doing? Sorry you couldn't make it on. I hope you like my attempt at a review this evening. Let's see. Jill says, thanks for getting me to consult the Klingon dictionary. That's kind of funny. Nuch. Traditional greeting, literally, what do you want? Said to somebody approaching you and does not mean hello. Okay. So, that is... What's this? Remove the whole highlighted chat? Let's see. Highlighted chat. Let's see.
The banner.
Oh, okay. You mean the my back screen? Let's see. All right, let's see what's coming up. Okay. I don't see what's wrong. Okay. Snortapoopa says, Chiquin Nuchi is a favorite Klingon snack. And Phantom Outsider says, welcome to the 26th century. We have excellent pizza, bagels, and everyone gets an 8-inch polar bear as a pet. Cool. And Legata says, and not a Vulcan Sailot? Okay. In the chat you display on the screen, you have a habit of leaving it. Oh, okay. Get rid of these. Gotcha. All right. Let's continue. Okay, so. Okay, alrighty. Let's go back to here. Okay, so Kirk goes back, and no one really, either they don't have, without evidence, they discount it, but or they just or they don't believe Kirk. So, and now fade to the present. Hello, Ace Cast Iron. Hello there. He says, a second here. Second. I'm giving some time because I don't want to get copyright strike. Not that I care, because I'm doing a dang review. So who says Ace Cast Iron says the best Trek comic ever with John Burns books thereafter. Wow, cool. Legatus says fair use for review purposes only. Thank you, Legatus. Okay, so we go back to the present, and Kirk gets a visitor. It's Savitt, which I don't like that they do the Robin Curtis-ish version of it and not Kirstie Alley. To me, Kirstie Alley is Savitt. So this doctor, Lars, brings Jillian 20th century clothes. And of course, she likes that. So she likes that. He is an anthropologist, and I probably prefer Lars Noel studies the 20th century. So he decides, he wants to try and orient her back to the to the 24th century, at the same time learning more about the 20th century from her. So, and they have a farewell, and she's saying, make sure you come back before Gracie's born. And now we fade to the Enterprise A, where they're at the space dock, getting ready to give room for other starships more in need of maintenance. My favorite line here is, I always wondered what it was like to serve aboard her, but even in Starfleet, not everyone gets that chance. Instead, I get to be the one to put her back together when she came home. For Bob April, Chris Pike, Jim Kirk, in his case, more time than I care to count. Will Decker and Kirk again. Well, Decker didn't have command of it that long. It was because Kirk took it back in the motion picture. So, all right, so they're going to move the ship out to a dockage by the moon. Here we see Dr. McCoy playing chess with Spock, and Spock is not pleased. So in other words, he's not having a good game. So then they go to the bridge, getting ready for their leisurely excursion to the middle, to orbit around the moon. And they wanted it. So And okay, I'm sorry, it's Professor Howell. They've spelled it. See, that's the thing. They're two things are kind of inconsistent. The one said Professor Noel, and here it's saying Professor Howell. They're doing some bantering. Uhura is talking to Commander Rand, making sure that that the crew assignments are actually getting done per their request, and they're getting ready to move. And this looks so very. I saw this sequence and I thought, they're getting ready to go to the moon, to be put out in the middle of nowhere. And the season 2 premiere of Strange New Turds actually shows that they're escaping. Actually, never mind. Forget I said anything. It actually has nothing to do with the filth. So they're getting ready for their excursion. And the first of Old Home Week we see Jamie Finney, all grown up, all in Starfleet uniform, showing up and talking to Dr. McCoy, wanting to be on the crew. So this is starting to seem like a old home week for the Enterprise. So let's see. Jill's saying I should be fine. She sees other channels do it without another. It's not like you're reading the whole thing to us. Thank you, Jill. Is he going to learn the correct use of 20th century colorful metaphors? Phantom says, aren't you in charge of properly mixing? And yes, translunar remote parking. Okay, so let's go back. Right. And that sound effect you hear in the back is Snoopy. Okay, so we see Jamie Finney, all in uniform, and asking to join the crew, not knowing what it is about, but she says that one of the replacements was an anthropologist specializing in Klingons. She studied under him. What a coinky-dink. And she wants to replace him because he was injured before boarding the Enterprise. McCoy lets Spock know, and Spock approves their the transfer. McCoy mentions that Jamie is trying to balance the scale from Ben Finney's disgrace, and so he finds it interesting. So now we got another flashback, this time from McCoy. This is right after their encounter of the Doomsday device. And so he's reminiscing about the loss of Matt Decker, Matt Decker. And then they get a communication, it refers to the Farragut and indicates that the situation is urgent. Kirk says, and of course it's by the neutral zone. So both Scotty and Spock say, "Oh, this is not good. No, this is by the Romulans." And Kirk pretty much puts them in their place and says, "Do it." They see a Klingon battle cruiser, which as they are finding out that the Romulans are starting to use, and then there's a normal bird of prey. Both have no power, and they are aware of the presence, but not trying to inhibit the scans. Kirk decides he's going over there to investigate. They go over there, and they see the buggies. And the buggies are having their way with the Romulans. So the landing party start fighting, and it's a bloody, as McCoy says, it was a messy, brutal business. They lost good people in the fight. And he wonders why. He says he hopes that Kirk, whatever reasons he got there, he hopes they were worth it. And McCoy says, and I like this line, something about him when he looks at those bug uglies reminds me uncomfortably of Commodore Decker. And they're getting ready to have a go at the Romulans, and look who we see here. Tassel comes out and encounters Kirk. She says, "I'm flattered you remember, and I suspect somehow you made sure I never forget." So they start talking about the attack. And evidently the bugs have taken the creature, or have taken the cruiser. So the creatures have taken over the cruiser. They're going to follow the ship. However, Kirk says the crew's in pretty bad shape. The ship's damaged. He suggests an alliance, and they say no because it's heading back into Romulan space. And of course, Jim and Tassel have a moment. So this is starting to become a pattern. And where are we going to see how this pattern goes? Hello, Lenrod. How you doing? He's listening while working. Legata says Kirk is using his diplomatic skills. Lenrod says tasty tech comment. Using diplomatic skills. Snort says Human Romulan snoo. Legata says you would think the Federation would have had teams crawling all inside the Doomsday weapon and then tossing it into a giant red star or black hole to make sure no one can learn its secrets. Good idea. Okay, so back to Okay, so back to the Romulan human snoo. The Enterprise is going to their orbit around the moon. They leave a drone which is going to imitate the Enterprise communications, its signature, etc., etc. Created by whack job Dr. Daystrom. So it should mimic their personalities perfectly. So now that the drone is off, now Spock gets to do a fade back here. Right after this one is after V'ger. They go and they see the remains of a Klingon cruiser, and as you can see, there is a Romulan bird of prey. Once again, Kirk sees to sell and asks Spock and Kirk to join them on the cruiser. The Klingon cruiser is actually meant to be a planet destroyer, a terror weapon. So there is a Kirk tells to Sel that he did some research and found out that she was a Romulan. And her mother was taken in by the Vulcans and couldn't really adapt to the Vulcans. She then went to once she was taken by the Romulans, she became commander and embraced her true heritage and decided her place was center seat on a starship. So right now, they've got to figure out what to do. If they report this new planet destroyer to the Romulan Empire, there's going to be a war, and that would probably involve all three governments. So they decided to probably invest. She would be investigating it alone. She's told the Imperial High Command, and they pretty much poo-poo her. And Kirk, they call it Kirk's folly, and they want evidence. So what they do is they take information of the weapon and just prepare for the next appearance of the buggies. And now finally back to the present. Kirk and Savick are floating around by the Watchtower complex. They appropriately, it was called Watchtower 13. So a bad luck sector. Lord Poopa says, they stole that drone idea from me. Wah. This is a different ship. This is a completely different ship, Legatus Legion I, that just happened to got caught up after the remains of the V'ger crisis. And as you can see, hello, Dead Man Walking. How are you doing, sir? Okay, so remember berries while ignoring what was written done better before in other novels, comics. Just wait, Legatus. Let's see. And hello, Sean Carter. How are you doing, my friend? Okay. Okay. So they're out at the middle of nowhere by the Romulan neutral zone, and he was complimenting her on her flying. I still wish that was Kirstie Alley. And all of a sudden, the Enterprise shows up. Go figure. And Kirk says, I trust, Lieutenant. You have a very good explanation for this. No, sir. He says, wrong answer. They come up, they board the Enterprise, and he's wanting an explanation, and he says, I could bring you up on charges, but they say they're illegally themselves. And they're saying, you know, you don't think your crew don't notice that you're going after the ship? You notice the same Romulan ship and the same captain, along with the bug creatures? And they deduce that there is a threat to the Federation. And Kirk doesn't want to risk his ship. And as I was saying, this is old home week for the Enterprise. They were able to get Garavik, Riley, Bailey, Kyle, Stiles, Palamas, and Mira Remain to join the crew. And Kirk is touched. So they have an old home week, so to speak. So they go up to there's yellow alert. They go up and they see a D7 Klingon cruiser. And Jamie's sitting on center seat, and Kirk is surprised about it. Saavik says that that's her place, and she detects another ship that is probably cloaked, and he's saying that to Saavik that she better watch it. It could be she may provide some competition to her. And here we go. We see Kirk there is Kor, our friend Kor, and Tassel. And they come and have a council of war. At the same time, Sulu's saying that they can all be court-martialed for this crazy stunt. They get together. They mention that this time it was the probe that caused the major event. So what they did is they kept the sector free of traffic, and that way the only three ships that would be the only two ships supposedly would have been Core ship and Tassel ship, but now we got the Enterprise. Core wants the honor because the Dreadnought loss of vigor caused the ones with the head ridges to be the to gain the upper hand in the High Council, and the human types were banished. So Core is looking to get payback. So they start working on things. The Klingon, the McCoy, Chekhov, Finney, and Chapel come on board to put transponders into Klingons so that they can be transported in an emergency. And of course, the Klingon lady thinks that Finney is just a little wimp. Yeah, right. She shows her mettle and knocks out the Klingon first officer. And now becomes the Klingon first officer. Doesn't that sound familiar? So now they are on board the Klingon vessel, getting ready to be the bait. In the meantime, the Enterprise is hooking up with the Romulan vessel to utilize its cloak so that they can be cloaked when the buggies come back. I call them buggies. Yep, the Enterprise need the cloak, and Phoenix needs the Enterprise's power to sustain it. So, and of course, Romulan, human. Now here, one of the Romulan officers, there's some power feedback. She's almost going to get fried, but a Starfleet officer, Sal McMurphy, saves her. The cloak works, so it's just the Klingon vessel. And of course, you get the human Romulan hatred, but McMurphy helps her out. McMurphy pretty much puts the security officer in his place. And of course, the Romulans do not like Saavik. Finney in a Klingon uniform. And the officer that she cold-cocked has no hard feelings. She says at first, should she do this, but she wants to look at their culture from the inside. And next thing you know, we got Core calls battle stations. Okay. John, hey John, why does the Klingon woman look like Gilf Tate? Yeah, a lot of the artwork here is good. I just don't like a lot of their inconsistencies. He doesn't draw the same person the same way twice. Jill says something is only a member of Barry if it's there for no other reason. Otherwise, it's a reference. Thank you, Jill. Okay, so the Klingon ship is now under attack. And Core leaves the video channels open, so they get to see the slaughter. Nice horror show. And now Kirk is saying, get them out of there, but the cloak is interfering with the transponder tags. So it is not looking good for the Klingons. They start pulling the Klingons up. They see that that these buggies are so hard to kill. They have to virtually drain their phaser power packs each time they kill. Scott wants the cloak dropped, and Kirk says no. So they bring over McCoy, Finney, and the Klingon first officer, and they almost didn't make it. So what does Finney do? Finney tells Scotty to send them back, and Scotty says no, and she's all set to stun Scott and transport herself. So Scotty relents and sends them back. And of course, Scotty says she may not have even made it, or they would, even if they're still alive. McCoy's pissed because they were abandoned, and that just causes Jim to go off. He says, "You all insisted on getting involved. Now you're paying the price. This is a combat situation, Doctor, in all but name of war, and mine is the responsibility of command. So if you don't like it, it bothers you to have to decide who lives, who dies. Tough. Learn to live with it the way I have ever since I first sat in that center seat." That speech there is Kirk in a nutshell. So Kirk gives Scotty some information about the Klingon weapon, and asking Scotty if they can build it. So they are starting to work on a way to take out those critters. They start showing the weapons. They've decided they're not going to use phasers, but use old style firearms. A 9mm auto-fire cannon shooting explosive projectiles along a ballistic trajectory to an effective range of 1 kilometer. So they're being given firearms as opposed to phasers or disruptors. And Tucker starts flirting, Romulan flirting with McMurphy. He doesn't like the weapon, but and she's never used it except in a simulator. And he asks her for a date to play chess. Cell is trying to get Kirk to join her, and he's actually considering it, but then they get interrupted. This big blob comes out of nowhere, right on top of the Klingon cruiser. John Randall says, "Member berry jelly and peanut butter." Maybe Jeff Tate is a Klingon woman. Okay, so they see this big blob come out of nowhere, and now they're going to head on the mission. Again, Kirk says the crew is expendable. Get the ship out of there. It's going to be crew, Sulu, McMurphy, Takur, and our tactical force, and McCoy, getting into a special shuttlecraft. Kirk said they could have done it by sensors, but Kirk wanted to actually look along with Cassell at this creature that's haunted them. So they go, and they head to the Klingon vessel, and the creatures are working on ripping the core ship apart, more like termites. And they look and they see that they're still fighting inside the Klingon vessel. So they breach the vessel and go in and start engaging the buggies. Kirk saves Chekhov, and Finney's there, so he's surprised that she's in a Klingon uniform. Takur gets wounded. They're gonna bail out to the shuttle, and Spock detects a command nexus. So Kirk, Core, and Tassel, and Finney, and McCoy are going to head into the bigger vessel. And oh man, that looks ugly. That is definitely a bioship. Definitely a bioship. And who should we see? Saavik and Spock. They decide they needed science officers here, so they go and aid. But of course, somebody says that they just wanted it on fun. Spock concludes that this ship is extragalactic. He says this spacecraft originates so far from explored space that not even the Milky Way galaxy is not easily noticeable. So, sort of like where the Doomsday Machine came from. So they see creatures in bowl, in egg type things, and one pops out, who happens to be a member of the Farragut crew, Diane Morwood, and she fights and she's kicking the butt of everybody on the crew. So McCoy says, she's a woman and an old friend to boot. You're Jim Kirk. Try some of your legendary charm. So he tries it, and it works. She tells them about the creature, and she says, to us, you're little more than meat. So this is definitely a malevolent force. They get back to the Enterprise, and Kirk said that he's not going to take her up on the offer. So she goes back to her ship, the Phoenix. The wounded are recovering. The Klingons want to board the alien and continue the battle. And now the bad news. What they're going to do is use the cannon to go after the rift just as the alien enters the rift. They're going to target it on the Klingon cruiser Revenge, and it should cause a supernova type explosion over the both dimensions. Diane comes on. They say the cloak has been spotted, and they're going to retaliate. And they start moving their tentacles over to the Enterprise. Enterprise fires. Nothing happens naturally, and then the Phoenix breaks through, and it starts heading toward the creature. Cassell's going to buy time. She says she's not going to see Kirk die, and is going to leave her daughter under his care, and then Kirk orders the ship to go to warp and the weapon to fire. They barely make it. Kirk tells to Kerr about the after effects. It's not going to be navigable for over a century, and this was the creature's only doorway. So hopefully they are gone for quite some time. So Kerr asked why didn't she join, and he pretty much explained he did not want to defame the name of the Enterprise again. And she says, I am as poor a Romulan as my mother was a Vulcan. I'd like to find out what that means. No, I am as poor a Romulan as my mother was a Vulcan. The phrase she used to chide me was to call me painfully human. I would like to find out what that means. We'll talk about that after we're done here. So they celebrate their triumph. Kor takes in Finney to learn under the Klingons, and she's scared, but she decides to do it. But asked if the captains were worthy. Kor said if there was a doubt, he wouldn't have asked. So Finney's going to join the Klingons, and Takur stays with the humans, and thus the epilogue. Kirk shows up back on Earth in the Pacific to reunite with Jillian. Jillian tells him to put on scuba gear, and they see Gracie's baby. The first birth of a great wheel in over 300 years, and now they are talking about it. That he made peace with the demons, and they are celebrating with Chateau Picard, a nice little, as Legatus and Jill would say, memberberry. So they celebrate the birth of Gracie's baby, and I'm going to read this last line. To the friends I've found along the way who've enriched my life and made the journeys past and those yet to come well worth the making. And there is a dedication for Gene Roddenberry. So, that is the story of now what the hey okay, so that is Debt of Honor. I don't know how to do a poll, so I'm just going to ask out there, what did everybody think? I think it's an AA plus because it was very well written. Brings back all sorts of Star Trek memories, ties them all together into a big galactic threat, and of course the Lady Romulan can't be beat. And Core gets some ridges attached in time for Blood Oath, yes. And Jill says, "Aw, the baby whale." Yep. So, supernova explosion, Operation Baked Potato. I like it. Kirk speaks the words of woe. So please put your tell me what you think. I know probably a lot of you haven't read it, but with this review, would this entice you to go out and get it? And if you've got some comments, please let's put them out there. We got about another 20 minutes to go. Yes, Jill, it's the baby whale, and this is why I say it's the unofficial. It's the unofficial sequel for Star Trek 4, because we get a lot of Jillian, which I thought was a good thing. But I'd say my biggest issue with this is a lot of the artwork for the sub characters is inconsistent. Like they have Jamie look like herself, then she looks fat, and then back to herself, and then like very inconsistent. And that goes out through the whole book. They can't keep their characters outside of the main characters drawn consistently. But other than that, the story's fantastic. The overall artwork is good. I love the villain. I mean, it's sort of like a buggy version of the Borg. Okay, guys. He says it looks interesting. Snorty says it looks interesting. Yet lots of yummy member berries cooked into a tasty pie. Yeah. Cobalt Bald Eagle says later on in the comic book, there's a fold-out section for nighttime adult purposes. Cobalt. Cobalt. Oh, shit. No, it's left. Okay. I personally did not like all these member berries and other story arcs in DC Comics. When Kirk was on trial, they had past episode characters as witnesses. That was good, but in this, it did not work. Yeah. They probably could have gone without the other the other characters like Garavik and all that. That one was that was over the top, especially since they don't mention them that much. The only one they mention and have take an active part was Jamie Finney. So yeah, I could see that with Goddess. I could see that. But they had to have some. They had to have some sort of thread to tie these buggies in. Yeah, and I agree with you. I agree with you, Snorty. I would have been happy if Savick was Kirstie Alley. Yes. I don't know why. She probably told him no. But they could have. Yeah, I didn't like. Again, I didn't like all the who's would have been okay, but you know, if they had a relevant part of the story, don't just bring them in here and just say, okay, they're here. Okay, they're here. And then what? So, any other comments? Give me a second. Kirstie Alley is 3 blocks down from Diane Lane. Probably a rights and likeness issue. Legata says, will you be doing something similar with your secret prequel project with Cosmic or Comic Crusader? That could be. Could be. Still in progress. Anybody else? Joe, what'd you think of it? Okay. So, well, I hope you all liked this review of Star Trek: Dead of Honor. I enjoyed doing this. I decided to try and do some branching out. Obviously, I'm not getting away from the interviews and what we do on Just Cause. I just wanted to try some new and different things, especially if I can't get people in a timely basis to do interviews and stuff like that. October's been fall has been kind of lean with trying to get interviewees. They're spacing out very far and few between, but hopefully I can resolve that and get more people in to be interviewed. So, Anybody else have anything to say with about Snort said, I didn't know this existed, but I stopped reading Trek novels centuries ago and was never into graphic novels. Yeah, this was out in 90 in the 90s. Like I said, I bought it then, and we and then, like I said, I had it. Okay, 1992. Yep, and it's in my comic collection somewhere. I got to find it, but I wanted to read it again, so I went to Kindle and got it. And I thought it would be in a great format to review it, and it seemed to work. I'll just have to see what you guys thought of it. Good point. As this story was a sequel to Star Trek 4, they had to use the characters' likenesses from it, so no Kirstie Alley. True. And I'm sorry, they didn't do a good job of drawing Jillian either. I mean, there are some good ones. They had some good ones, but then they also had some bad drawings of her. And even Kirk, they didn't do. There were some issues with the drawing, but all in all, I thought it was a great story. So that's why I would say an A. Probably the artwork kept it from getting an A+. I'd seriously like to see a review or discussion of the Star Trek LP from back in the 70s. Could be interesting. Huh. That would be interesting. I didn't know they had one. Cobalt says, this was neat. Cooking with Sandra is also a neat concept. Yeah, we're going to have more with the holidays coming up, starting October 28th. We're probably going to have a lot more Cooking with Sandra segments. Re-Kirk art. Toupee might have been trademarked. Yes, I'm wearing the toupee. I have trademarked the toupee. Let's see. There were several vinyl Star Trek audiobooks, if I recall. And Sandra says, maybe next time he doesn't have an interview, Cobalt, I'll have to stock my baking pantry. Ah! Yay, cookie time with Sandra. And Jill says, cookies! Yeah. Ha! That was the Shatner Turbo 2000 toupee. Say that 10 times fast. Shatner Turbo 2000 toupee. All right. Okay. So, I think on this note, since we're I'd like to see what Jill thought of it. Jill, you want what? I know you haven't read it, but based on what I described, what do you think? Okay. Excuse me. Got some coughing. Hello, Snoopy. I remember that episode. There was an episode of Night Court where Bull was sporting his new Shatner Turbo 2000. The women were all over him. I remember that one. I haven't read it, but based on what I heard, I'd be very interested as Star Trek 4 was my favorite. The writing seems well done, and I like what visuals I saw, even if inconsistent. Yep, you ought to check it out, Joe. What I liked is that Kirk was able to help her get over her survivor's guilt, because in the story she says she has more in common with the whales than with any humans in that century. And what I thought was really good is that Kirk got a 20th century, an anthropologist who specialized in the 20th century to help orient her to her new surroundings. Now, of course, he gets something out of it by having a live research study. So I thought that was good. And evidently Dr. McCoy agreed as well. You know, this is the first excuse me. This comic, Jill, you may be able to enlighten me. But this comic was the first reference to Dr. McCoy being a psychologist. It was never mentioned in the original series, and even the even the movies. There was never really a mention that he was a psychologist. Jill says, "As anything, it's nice to hear about Beta canon fiction that's respectful to its source." McCoy looked very old in this. Did I miss something? Well, he was pretty old during the movies. He was old in the movies, and of course the artwork again. This is another example of the artwork being very inconsistent in drawing McCoy. They wrote him better than they drew him. Legatus agrees. A respect for the lore is a must, and they did it okay. So, yeah. In the motion picture, McCoy was retired, and Kirk brought him back into Starfleet. Yep. Yeah, with that big old beard of his. Love that beard. And I kind of wish they would have given Core the ridges, but I guess to add to the angst, it was best that they didn't give him the ridges until later on. Of course, that adds the question, how did that happen? Or is it, as Worf said, we don't talk about it? So, all right. Well, this is probably the first of quite a few reviews that I'm going to try and attempt. And I hope you liked it. Yeah. Yep. Cobalt, there was that one Enterprise episode with Bakula that explained the No Ridge Klingons. Yes. Yes. But why did it take why did it take longer for some to get the ridges back than others? But okay. Well, guys, I think at this point, you know what time it is. But I'm not going to do it until someone says it. Cobalt says, simple, toy sales. Legata says, I forgot the novel, but it was said that there were two races of Klingons, and during Kirk's era, the non-ridged Klingons were on the top of the food chain. Yep. Okay. Cobalt Bald Eagle says, would that be on YouTube at all? Oh, thank you, Jill. Court Martial. Oh, I have to watch that episode. To Dr. McCoy. Doctor, you are on the record an expert on psychology, especially space psychology. Thank you. Thank you, Jill. There's just so much in Star Trek that sometimes you just that sometimes you forget. Snort covers eyes. Is it time for John says show notes? John says show notes. Is it time for Hail Pudgy? All right, let's do it. Show notes. The new and improved show notes. Don't worry, the other one will make appearances at times. The fast Star Trek role-playing game trying to explain the Klingons with and without, and John Ford wrote a Klingon novel called Final Reflection that it was based on. All right. Yes. Pudgy says, yay! Yes, with the new Pudgy voice. All right. Show notes. This Saturday, we're going to have Just Cuz with the usual madness, but we're going to do it, we're going to also celebrate Dalek's birthday. Dalek 451's birthday, because we will be about when it will be on London time. So yes, we will celebrate Dalek's birthday, and I hope he'll like what we have planned. If we have something planned, you know how we are. On October 4th, we're going to have. I gotta find her book title. I have it. Okay. On October 4th, we're going to have Christina Hoffman on. She's going to tell us about her new book, Destined Existence, The Unique Campaign. And so we're bringing her back, and we'll be talking about her upcoming book. No, just because it's Saturday this weekend. But, yeah, the 30th is on Saturday. So it's going to be Saturday. You're well. Thank you, Jill. Legata says, I knew it. Snorter Poopers read that. I read that 40 years ago. So Christina Hoffman will be discussing her book release on the 8th, October 8th. That will be a Sunday episode because I will be at a wedding on the 7th. On the 18th, we will have the 200th episode. 200 episodes. Wow, that is cool. That is I think that's a milestone worth celebrating. And on the 23rd will be that will be on a Sunday. That will be on a Sunday. That will be our King Dolphin TV's 2-year anniversary. Yay! Wow, I never thought that when I started this that it would go for 2 years. I've got you guys to thank for that. You guys are an amazing pod, and it's always so fun to be with you guys. I love you all. And on the 28th, my birthday. My birthday falls on a Just Cuz Day. So we will celebrate my birthday on October 28th. So that is show notes. Probably on the other Wednesdays, I'll think of something. We may have the debut of the podcast, where I'll do something. I've got to figure out what we're going to do for the podcast, and of course we'll have Surfside Chat, and maybe I'll get lucky and get some interviews out there. If you guys know people that you think would make great interviews, please let me know. Also, please like and subscribe if you like this content, and send me ideas as to what you'd like to see on King Dolphin TV. We're here to entertain you and inform you. So that's King Dolphin TV's mission. And also, yes, Sandra says, do a King Dolphin raid on Pop Culture Breakdown. Yes, tell them King Dolphin raid is raiding. So, okay, Snorter Pooper says, take care of every human, dolphin, doggo, eagle, hedgehog, ferret, and amorphous blob from another dimension. Yeah. So, okay. That is show notes.
Show notes with Mr. Ray. Show notes with Sandra too. Mr. Raymond, push the button.
All right. Excuse me. All right, I'd like to thank everybody who had come here, and hopefully you were entertained. hopefully you enjoyed the video. We had. One sec, I gotta fix something. I hate when things don't work out where I like it to work out. Okay, we had Ace Cast Iron join us. We had Cobalt Bald Eagle. We had the Dan Man walking. Thank you, Dan Man. We had the Phantom Outsider, bane of polar bears everywhere. We had Sean Carter. Thank you for being here, my friend. We had Taylor Swift, graded in Disney. Thank you. And now the amazing My Wrench team. The glue that holds this chaos together. The people who help make King Dolphin TV the best that it can be. We had our producer, Sandra. Thank you, honey. Anti-Derivative Jill, thank you. Our Star Trek Maven extraordinaire. We had Fez for Hire, John Randall. The first one, the last out, Legatus Legionai. Lenrod was listening, but couldn't interact that much. We had the amazing Pudgy Hedgehog. Please go to his channel and subscribe to Pudgy Hedgehog Adventures. Chapter 1 of his new story, The Center of the Earth adventure, has just come out. And it was a pretty good chapter. It was a pretty good chapter. And of course, the hardest working bear in the universe. The bear, the myth, the legend. Snortopoopas! Cuber.com. Great show. Great show. Great show. See you Saturday. I'll bring Sniffles. We gotta have a long talk with Sniffles. What should I say to him, Snort? What should I say with him? So, all right. Hi, Dalek. Make sure you check out the replay. It was a great review. He says, hi, all. Looks like I got in for the end. Later, all. Hey, this Saturday, the 30th, be there. We're going to have a party for a certain creature in a can, the Dalek Man. So, Snortopoopa says, tell Sniffles to get out of the Union. So, and Jill says, hello, goodbye, hello, and goodbye. Dalek, one by one. Yeah. Well, you take care and see you Saturday. It's going to be fun. All right. And so that is it. The second review, the second book review of Star Trek. I love Star Trek stuff. I love Star Trek stuff, and I was glad to be able to put this review this one. This was great. I'm going to probably do some other comics. I'm going to get with Lord Thoth, and we'll talk about the Legion. And maybe we will get into a Fantastic Four talk with Clobby. All right. So everybody have a great night. See you Saturday. I look forward for Just 'Cause. the place where anything can happen and usually does. And the eclairs will be fresh. So, everybody have a great night.
This segment is brought to you by the Dolphin Boys